Instrumental rationality and the orthogonality thesis, two terms you should be very comfortable with by the end of this week. Our goal for this part of the course is to get into the cognition of the machine. What does this mean? We're trying to understand how these artificial agents can potentially have their own goals or values. Goals or values are the same thing. And what does this mean for understanding their cognition and for how they could act and how they could become adversarial to humanity? What is instrumental rationality? Both readings for this week address the questions of instrumental rationality and the orthogonality thesis. You will see that the second reading is also some kind of reply or follow-up to this first reading. The key points for the readings are highlighted already in the text that I'm going to present you. Very quickly, we're trying to understand why the systems will not have by default the same goals or values as humans. Why is that? Does this seem intuitive to you? Did you expect, if you try to sit down and think about all the possible ways artificial intelligence systems could turn out to be, would you have expected that it would be easy by default to just have the same goals, to want the same things? Does this make sense to you in general? Is this an intuitive idea? Especially if you think for people in your life, other intelligent beings, do you in general think you're very much aligned in terms of goals and values? So pause for a second and try to think this question. Now, when you're done thinking about this question, you may realize that yes, in many cases, we tend to share many of our goals and values with other human beings. We probably have very similar goals as people in our close environment in particular. You may be finding yourself having the same values as your family or your friends or other people near you. And that is because you're very similar. Human beings are very, very similar, despite all the differences that we tend to find and recognize during our lives. We are fundamentally very, very, very similar. So it makes sense to expect that if we're going to evaluate our values and goals, we all pretty much want very, very similar things, or at least comparable things. But what happens now if we want to look at a very, very wide space of possible intelligent beings? Things seem to change here. And that's what you will see in more detail in the second reading. What kind of intelligences are within the space of possible intelligences? Now, one thing is possible, what could happen, and another thing is probable, what is likely to happen. But it's good to keep in mind that it is possible that we are navigating a very, very wide space of intelligence when we think about artificial intelligence. And so we, as a metaphor, can think of AI minds as very alien minds, very different from ours. So even if you see the systems like LLMs, like large language models, like ChatGPT, outputting text that is very similar to something that you could write, you should always keep in mind that their cognition, the cognition of this machine, the processes that get to the same phenotypically result are very, very different. So that's something to always keep in mind. How do you prove that? What are some theoretical premises that get us to this conclusion that the recognition is very different? So first of all, the orthogonality thesis that we're going to learn about in this paper, what does it say? That, as you'll go further down in the definition here, intelligence and final goals are orthogonal axes along which possible agents can freely vary. In other words, more or less any level of intelligence could in principle be combined with more or less any final goal. So what I said right before, our goals do not seem to be constrained by the level of intelligence we have. And this goes back to philosophical debates in trying to understand morality. How does morality work? What motivates us with our wishes and preferences? And some of you that are familiar with the philosophy of David Hume may have heard this motto that belief and motive are separate. So this is very much in line with this. You may have the set of beliefs that constitutes your intelligence. However, your motives may be very different. Your goals may be very different. And so you're employing your intelligence in pursuit of these final goals. And your intelligence does not seem to determine or change these final goals, rather than just offer you the instrumental tools in order to achieve your terminal goals. So this is what the orthogonality thesis tells us. Well, what should we expect from this? More or less that morality and intelligence are not correlated. The more intelligent you become, you do not by default become more moral. And this is one of the reasons why we're worried about these AI systems. What is it? The more intelligent they become, we don't really know what kind of goals they may acquire and want to pursue. It does not mean that very intelligent systems will have the same goals as humans. They don't inherit our morality in any way. And this is highly contrasted with the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, who thought that morality and rationality or intelligence are very much strongly connected. The more rational, the more intelligent you are, the more moral you're going to be. You're going to be able to make the best decisions, but these decisions will weigh very much morally. So this is what you should remember from the definition of instrumental rationality. And here you see highlighted that because of the orthogonality thesis, we cannot really predict the future behavior of AI systems. And of course, we tend to project anthropomorphic features into the systems because we try to characterize them. We try to understand their cognition. What we have easily available is human cognition, and so we project features of it into the systems. The second point is instrumental convergence. After the orthogonality thesis, what we described essentially was that there are intermediate goals that allow an agent to pursue a final goal. And so the more intelligent the agent is, you can expect that the agent will find the right intermediate or instrumental goals towards achieving its goal. What is the instrumental convergence thesis? Several instrumental values or goals can be identified which are convergent in the sense that their attainment would increase the chances of the agent's goal being realized for a wide range of final goals and a wide range of situations, implying that these instrumental values are likely to be pursued by many intelligent agents. So what does this mean a little bit more simply? There are some instrumental goals that every agent would be very likely to want to pursue exactly because they're very helpful, they're instrumentally convergent towards a wide variety of goals. What are these instrumental goals? So self-preservation, right? You cannot do anything if you're not alive. You have to make sure it's still you that does the things as an agent. Goal content integrity, something about I want to maintain my goals. I don't want anyone to modify me to make me have different goals. Otherwise, how am I going to pursue these goals? Cognitive enhancement. If possible, I want to become smarter. I want to become more capable. So I'm working or allowing any modifications that promote that, and preventing any changes that would not let me become more and more capable. Technological perfection. I want better technology. I want better tools to achieve my goals. I need resource acquisition. I want to make sure I have the right resources that would be helpful when I want to pursue my final goals. And so now you have a better picture of what these two instrumental convergence and the orthogonality thesis look like, and how they help us theorize about the cognition of the machine, of any machine, right? We tend to have LLMs in mind because we have them available right now, but you should take this as a broader picture when thinking about artificial agents. The second reading elaborates further on these ideas that we just discussed, orthogonality thesis in particular. Why is the orthogonality thesis true? And so you get an example here. Consider the history of science. Consider very, very brilliant people and try to think about their ethics. What do you see there? Does it mean that because a scientist has a very high IQ, very high intelligence, that they are going to be very moral people? The answer is it depends. In some cases, these people were very, very humanitarian. You can think examples from the history of science again, and you can think of examples where scientists demonstrated some kind of evil behavior, depending on your interpretation of whatever historical episode. And so this is a very good indication that ethics are not strongly impacted by the intelligence of these people. Their ethics did not seem to be correlated by how smart and amazing scientists they were. And that's the meaning of orthogonal, right? You can think of this shape. You can continue being as intelligent as you want, but your morality is not affected by it. And a quick recap here, right? This distinction between the final goals, which are the ultimate objectives, and instrumental goals. Mention a few again here. Why is this discussion interesting? I think this is probably one of the most important arguments you're going to learn in this course, because it helps you imagine how intelligence could evolve, how intelligence changes. So if you want to tell the story of intelligence, you will definitely include the arguments for the orthogonality thesis and instrumental rationality. And this is how you would try to imagine future superhuman AIs, and if they are possible, they will follow these rules, these posits, if you wish, that prescribe their behavior. And how do you know that? Because intelligent systems already follow these rules. And so you get a little bit more information and a little bit more elaboration on the orthogonality thesis here. So it's very good to try to really understand and test yourselves if these arguments are clear. And this is probably one of the most interesting and valuable discussions that you encounter in this course so far, and it will be very helpful for further weeks and other questions and discussions we'll have. So make sure you're very clear on this.